You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video we're going to do a top 10, my top 10 episodes of the Walking Dead series leading into season 5. Yes, these are my top 10 episodes consisting of the last 4 seasons, and here we go. So at number 10, Arrow at the Doorstep. This episode for me in season 3 was really good. I really enjoyed the dialogue between Rick and the governor, even though it was really pointless because we knew what the end result was going to be. But it really, to me, gave a good opportunity to highlight the governor in a different way than we had seen during season 3. Plus, I loved how David Morrissey portrayed the governor, and to see the exchange back and forth between Rick and the governor, and every now and then one person would one-up the other in a certain conversation, and then vice versa, the next topic that came up. And it made, for me personally, one of the better episodes of season 3. Season 3 is not one of my favorite seasons. In fact, it's probably out of the 4 my least favorite. But there were a couple episodes in there that were really, really good. This is one of them for me personally. So at number 10, Arrow at the Doorstep, season 3 of The Walking Dead. At number 9, we have TS-19 from season 1, the final episode of season 1, which took place at the CDC. This is where, before we officially found out, but this is where we learned of the virus a little bit more in detail as to what caused the zombie outbreak, while still not answering all the questions that some of us still have till this very day. It was at least a little bit of insight as to what was going on, and that, if nothing else, was very satisfying. Plus, we got to see a very, very conflicting choice by Andrea that was very much, obviously Dale played a very big role in that choice. And then we remember Jackie, obviously staying behind to die as well. And it was just a really good episode, really emotional roller coaster, especially when you consider that the group had gotten there. They kind of settled in, would hope that they had at least a little bit of time to kind of, just chill for a minute with all the craziness that was going on, and it didn't last long. They pretty much had to leave there as soon as they got there. So at number 9, TS-19 from season 1, the season finale. At number 8, I have The Killer Within, season 3. This was another really good episode in which we unfortunately had to see the demise of Lori. Well, maybe not unfortunate for a lot of people who were not Lori fans, but I think the part of this episode that was very powerful and very heartbreaking was seeing Carl having to pretty much put his mother down, and it was very, very sad. It's one thing that she's going to die of natural causes because of C-section, because of the situation, the jail at that time being breached with more zombies, her, Maggie, and Carl having to hide, and then her going into labor, and then having to have a very brutal C-section. And the end result was Carl shooting his mother in the head so she could prevent from turning. And even worse was later on we saw, and I can't quite remember if it was the end of this episode or if it was the next episode, but I think it was the end of this episode. Rick, found Lori, no, not Lori, but found a zombie that pretty much ate Lori whole. So it's pretty brutal, very brutal episode. So that's number 8 on my list. At number 7, I have Days Gone By, the very first episode, and a very good episode. And I remember the first time I saw this, when I started watching The Walking Dead, season 1 had already been over, so I had gotten the DVD, and I saw the very first episode when it was a very heavily rainy night on a Friday, and we lost electricity. So right as I was like in the middle of the episode, and not the middle, actually towards the beginning, and I can remember Rick was kind of in that stairwell, very dark, very quiet, and right as that was going on, the electricity went out for about 2 minutes, and it was really spooky for that time. But it was a lot of fun nonetheless, even still, just seeing him getting up and everything that went down around him, all the end result, really. And then, obviously, obviously a longer episode, so he gets to meet Morgan, Morgan's son, We see him, kind of develop an early bond with Morgan. Nothing too crazy because they didn't spend a whole lot of time together, but it was a good episode leading into the Atlanta incident and then obviously into episode 2. So, Days Gone By, season 1. At number 6, I have Beside the Dying Fire from season 2, the season finale. This episode was great for a number of reasons. Number 1, the zombie horde invading the farm, which was phenomenal. The special effects were great. The scenes were great, with the barn fire, all the zombies, people getting eaten up, gunfire all over the place. I mean, it was just mass hysteria. It was very action-packed, and it was a lot of fun to see that zombie horde come in, and then Rick and his group having to flee, getting separated, some meeting back, most of them meeting back together, but some, unfortunately, pretty much Andrea, not making it back with the group. And then to top it all off, we finally, hear Rick confess the truth that the zombie outbreak is something that they already had. They're already infected with it. And then the way it triggers is once you die, you just reanimate. So they're already infected with the virus. And it was a very, very, such a shocker to hear that, knowing at this point now what he was told when he was at the CDC. So it was a very good episode, a very great season finale, one of the best, if not the best, and that's why it's number 6. At number 5, we have the season opening for this. We have the first episode for season 2, which is What Lies Ahead. And what made this great was the first time seeing a horde of zombies stroll through an area. As the group gets stopped by the traffic, they're all trying to gather supplies, find their way through the traffic, or find an alternate route. When it was noticed, a zombie was noticed in the distance by Dale, and then next thing you know, there's a horde of zombies behind that one that was spotted. Everybody has to take cover. Andrea's in the trailer. Dale's on top of the truck. People are hiding in cars, under cars, and this is obviously where we lose Sophia. And it was this very, very intense scene because one slip up and the whole horde would have converged on them. Andrea was very lucky to get help from Dale and quietly kill that zombie in the trailer. It was a very, very intense opening scene. And then leading into the events that followed just made it one of the best opening episodes of the series thus far. At number 4, I have The Grove from season 4. A very, very heartbreaking episode. Very hard to watch. I'm sure criticized by some people or some critics because of what happened at the end. But it also kind of stabs you with reality as to what would occur in a world like this with children, with adults, with mindsets, how people lose how they think about things. And obviously Lizzie had a lot of issues. She had a big hard time dealing with zombies and what they are and what they represent. She couldn't understand what the zombies were, that they were not people. They were never people once they were died. They were just reanimated corpses walking around eating flesh. And but still, it's because of that lack of understanding that you kind of feel for her, because in this world there is no choice. There's no psychiatrist, there's no doctor to go to, there's no medication to take for your mental illness. She pretty much had to be put down, otherwise she was going to be a threat to other people. And it was a very, for considering it was about 2 characters dying that weren't as major or as important as some of the other cast members, it's because they were children that made it so heartbreaking and kind of put a smack of reality, to me, in my opinion, on the show, even if not just for a minute, of what would things be like if we were in a world like that. So The Grove is number 4. At number 3, I have Clear, season 3. Clear, probably the best episode of season 3, where Rick finds Morgan while going on a supply run with Michonne and Carl, and he finds Morgan, and Morgan's just gone. He's at a point now where he's just not together there. He's built the whole block he lives on is one big trap for zombies and people if you're not careful. And he has obviously stashed a lot of ammunition, a lot of food. And he seemed well off, but he just wasn't well off mentally. But it was such a powerful performance, and Morgan is such a popular character for someone who's only been on really 2 episodes. It's amazing that they haven't backed up the truck to get this guy on full time. But yeah, Clear was an incredible episode, the best episode of season 3 bar none, and that's why it's number 3 on my list. At number 2, I have Pretty Much Dead Already, Season 2, and this is the heartbreaking episode where Sophia is found in the barn as a walker. After so many episodes looking for her, everybody using this as a tool for hope to keep them going, it was a heartbreaking, gut-wrenching feeling when she walked out of the barn and everyone saw her. Carol broke down. Daryl, I can only imagine how he felt after what he went through to look for her. And the struggle between Rick and Shane debating about whether they should continue to look for her. And when she came out of there, it was even worse that Rick had to be the one to put her down when, in my opinion, it should have been Shane. Even though I'm a big Shane fan, he was the one talking all the shit, so he should have taken the responsibility. But Rick putting her down was heartbreaking as well. And it was also an important episode for Herschel, because this is where Herschel realized that what he believed was not the case. These people were not curable. These people were monsters. People turned monsters and zombies. So even though Sophia was the highlight of the episode, I also feel that it was a very important episode for Herschel to kind of, take another path or start his journey down a different path, because at this point, what else was there for him to believe if now that he's been proven that these things are monsters? So very powerful episode in season 2, and that's why it's number 2 on my list. And at number 1, Too Far Gone, season 4. What worse than finally seeing Herschel come full circle and helping people and being the voice of reason and being a father figure for Rick and a wonderful father to his girls, is to see him die. And that's what happened in Too Far Gone. Taken captive by the governor as a bargaining tool. And after Rick trying to negotiate and debate with the governor basically loses his patience, calls Rick a liar, and partially severs Herschel's head, and then later finishes the job. And that was a very emotional episode. That was very heartbreaking to watch. It's one thing for a character of Herschel's stature to die. It's another thing for him to die the way he did. And I can remember watching the episode with my wife, and my wife was crying. She loved Herschel. Herschel was her favorite character. And I think she's aware that these characters aren't going to make it all the way, but I think what bothered her more was the fact of how he died, as opposed to if he had died any other way. I think if he died a hero, she would have been fine with it. Yeah, she would have cried, but she would have been fine with it. But the emotion that she released when he died was one of anger and very upset at the way he went. And she wasn't even sure she was going to watch the show anymore. That's how upset she was. Obviously, that changes later once you realize it's just a show. But I understand how she felt. I was very heartbroken, too, when I saw it. It was very hard to watch. And even now, having the Blu-ray DVD and rewatching the season, it still hurts to see that. So, but that's it. Those are my top 10 episodes up to this point of The Walking Dead. Looking forward to season 5 to see what episodes in this season are going to replace the list, or replace some episodes on the list for next year. And yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be doing some more Walking Dead content going forward. I just finished watching the Blu-ray season, and I've just finished watching some of the special features. So we'll definitely be doing some videos. I got some great ideas of things I want to discuss, especially in the what if category. A couple of things on the featurettes caught my interest. Some things that were said and some topics that were discussed that I'd like to extend further. So, but until then, this is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Nation Facebook page.